Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on bjpen.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton. Episode 98. We got a good line for you ahead of UFC Vegas 63. Just to note, I am in Dominican when this goes out. So if any of these fights are off, I obviously am on vacation, so I don't have any time to edit them out. So the lineup is as follows. First up, we're going to be joined by Dustin Jacoby to preview his fight against Khalil Roundtree. Dustin gets another non-ranked guy, but a very fun fight, a fight he's really looking forward to. Khalil says, or Dustin says, Khalil's a guy he's kind of watched for a long time. A lot of people have known about him, and he's really excited for this matchup. We're then joined by Max Griffin to preview his fight against Tim Means, another very fun one. Max coming off that loss to Neil Magny. He says it was kind of interesting because the UFC paid him his win bonus. He got told from the matchmakers and Dana White he won that fight, so he was kind of weird. He didn't really know what was going to be next for me. He didn't know if he's going to get another ranked guy, but he's really happy with this Tim Means fight because he thinks this has Mings a potential bonus fight. We're then going to be joined by Chase Hooper to preview his fight against Steve Garcia. Chase is coming back after his submission win over Felipe Calera, or his TKO win over Felipe Calera back in May. He gets to fight Steve, who's dropping down to featherweight, which is an interesting thing for Chase because he didn't really expect this fight. Obviously, Steve is a lightweight, but he's really looking forward to it. We're then even joined by Jared Vanderaa to preview his fight against Waldo Cortez Acosta. Jared knows this is do or die. He thought his last fight was that. It's a last fight of his deal. He's fighting the undefeated guy coming out the contender series. He knows what it looks like. The UFC's setting him up to lose, get him out and build the guy off him, but he plans on proving everyone wrong, getting a win and remaining in the UFC. We're then going to be joined by Joseph Holmes, to preview his fight against Jun Yong Park. This is a really intriguing matchup. Obviously, Joseph coming off that first UFC win, he gets Park, who's been in the UFC for a bit, has a couple fights coming off the win over Eric Anders, has the loss to Gregor Rodriguez, been in the UFC since 2019. He's 4-2. He's very good. So Holmes knows a win over Park does a lot for him. And then we close things out talking to Josh Fremd to preview his fight against Trayshawn Gore. This fight was supposed to happen earlier this year. Josh couldn't do it. In steps his teammate Cody Brundage, who gets the knockout win. And then Josh has a ton of confidence that he'll be able to do the same thing to Trayshawn. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by UFC light heavyweight Dustin Jacoby, who's back in action in October. Dustin, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Everything's going well. Just finished up a good practice, had some rehab, had to get a haircut, did a fantasy football draft. So it's been a productive day, busy morning, but things are going well, man. We're about 8 weeks out from the fight, and I feel really good.
Bit surprised you're fighting Khalil. I thought for sure after you beat Jung, a ranked guy was going to be next for you.
Yeah, I thought so too. But at the same time, I had options. It's not like they weren't offering. It just, I mean, if Khalil wanted to fight, that makes sense to me. And, I like that matchup. And, a guy that we asked for with much higher rank than me just respectfully declined, which we pretty much expected that with me only being 14. And, I really wanted to fight Ozdemir, and he's ranked higher and coming off a good win. So, rightfully so, he wants to fight a little bit higher as well. So, I just got to continue doing what I'm doing and accepting the matchups they give me, making the right choice, and moving on with my career.
And with Khalil, when he's on, he's super dangerous, but that's kind of been the knock on him. Sometimes he doesn't look like himself. Lately, he's looked very impressive. What have you made his last couple fights?
Yeah, again, man, it's funny. A lot of guys from the gym or people, they're like, "Who you fighting?" I say, "Khalil Roundtree." They're like, "Whoa, that guy's an animal. That guy's a savage. Or that guy's a badass." And yeah, that guy can be all of those things, but he's really up and down. Honestly, I think he's a little bit of a mental midget, and I think that this camp, this fight, I'm not really making anything about him. I'm just making it about the Hanyak and doing what I know I need to do to prepare and win this fight. And I'm extremely confident with this matchup, and I know Khalil's a tough opponent. I'm not overlooking him at all, which is going to make me even more dangerous, and I can't wait to go in there and get the job done.
And he's obviously a very good striker like yourself. So you're just expecting this to be a kickboxing fight, or do you think it's going to hit the ground at some point?
Yeah, I don't see him shooting on me. It's like one of the few fights that I'm taking where I'm like, man, this guy's not going to shoot. Jung, I was really surprised didn't take a shot on me. I think there was one point I really felt that he wanted to, but I kind of did a good job of, staying away and playing that game with them. They kept him like, okay, I want to, knock this guy out. And, I ended up getting him to him first. But Khalil, he doesn't really have a takedown approach. And and which is going to make the fight really fun. I can let it go, and even if he tries shooting, and it is what it is. I'll go wherever the fight goes, but I plan on, yeah, for the most part, being a stand-up battle, and I just plan on there and going in there and breaking him and getting my hands raised.
With Khalil too, like we kind of talked about a bit earlier, but like, is it hard to prepare for him just because like you never know which kind of version of Khalil's gonna show up on fight night?
Well, not really, because I'm training for the best Khalil, and if he's not going to be the best Khalil, it's going to be a quick night. It's going to be over, and I'm going to run through him. If he prepares accordingly and properly, and comes out with a good headstrong game, then yeah, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a tough battle, and he definitely poses some threats. So. I'll be ready for everything, but I hope he doesn't drop the ball. I want a really good fight, and I'm telling you, if he comes out the Khalil that looks like he just doesn't belong, I'm going to expose him quick, and there's no doubt about that in my mind, and I just say that as easy and as humble as possible.
You'd obviously know better than most, but like, why do you think that is? Where you sometimes get like a different Khalil, or sometimes he looks like this killer and animal, and sometimes like, he doesn't look like he really even wants to be in there.
Well, you never know what's going on with guys emotionally, psychologically. You don't know if they had a good camp, a bad camp, and he's a guy that, I've said it for a long time. If I ever fought this guy, I'm going to break him easy because he's so up and down. The High he's a steady forward, very composed, level-headed, knows what it takes, and does what he needs to do. And here we're 8 weeks out, man. It takes what it takes, and I'm doing everything that it takes, and I know that I'm going to go in there my best, be on my best performance. One of the best performances I've ever had will be this fight, and I firmly believe that, and I hope that Khalil brings it as well.
And then who are kind of the main guys you're working with? Like similar guys with Cody and the usual kind of cast crew you got?
Yeah, the usual guys, man. Rob Wilkinson, he's fighting for the $1 million
Mhm.
PFL light heavyweight title, and that guy's a beast, man. He's a huge light heavyweight, so it's good to feel him. He's a real light heavyweight. Got Cody Brundage, who just continues getting better with each camp and with each day, and as each week progresses, and stronger, and really good everywhere. And Josh Fremd, he's fighting on the same card with me,
Mhm.
so him and I will be grinding. Austin Jones got a fight coming up. Harris, we got another guy that we work with. He fights for LFA tomorrow, and will be probably getting a call to the UFC if he gets a pretty dominant win. And yeah, man, if it's not broken, don't fix it. We're still rolling with the same crew at Factory X, and we're going strong, man.
Yeah, I talked to Josh the other day. Like, how beneficial is that? Where he's on that same card, and then Cody's like, what I think 2 weeks after you, 2 or 3 weeks after you. So you guys are all kind of going around for that same date, which has been the case lately for you because you and Cody kept on going back to back.
It has been, and it's great, man. It keeps us, in the gym and sharpening each other. And I'm really excited for Josh Fremd. I'm excited for him to go out there and get his first UFC win. I think he's going to do great, and I'm excited to be a part of his fight week, man. I really believe in that kid, and if he believes in himself, he's a killer, man. He's very dangerous. And that's the thing you're asking about Khalil earlier, man. It's always you versus you, man. The biggest battle is yourself. And once you can just become one with that man in the mirror, and on a daily routine, I talk to myself in the mirror all the time. And once you can become comfortable with that guy, and know what you're good at, know what you're not good at, accept the things that you can't do, and can't change, and I think that's when it finally clicks for people. And Josh Fremd's one of them, man. I can't wait to mentor him that fight week, and just be a positive vibe around him. And he's going to be fighting before me, but it's almost one of those situations where I like fighting before the guys to go out there and show them how it's done, and give them the confidence to go out there and get the job done. And yeah, I'm really excited for him. So it's been fun training with him, and it'll be fun fighting on the same card with him.
Uh, you're not even that old, like you're only 34, but is it a bit weird where you're kind of like the veteran kind of guy in this gym and everyone's kind of looking up to you? Or like when you first started in the UFC, like you were this young kid, it doesn't even seem that long ago, or you just have so much fight experience, like in between the UFC, all the MMA, and then like glories. Is it weird now that you're kind of the older guy and everyone's kind of looking up to you?
I've embraced that role. It is a little bit different because, and I'm such a vet, man. I've been in this for a long time. As a matter of fact, this fight, I didn't realize this until a few days ago. I'm fighting on October 29th, and that's when I made my UFC debut in 2011, the exact day, October 29th, 2011. And I just put that together a couple years ago. And it's like, wow, because even back then I was 22, I was so young. And then at 27, 28 years old is when I really started to feel like I was the rookie and the vet. And then 30, 31 and beyond, man, it really felt like the vet. And it really is, man. Experience is everything. I always used to be like, how is the older guy? How's he still sticking around? But until you've been through it, man. I always say I go through it to get to it, dude. And I've been through the ringer, and all of that experience really gives me the confidence to go out there and perform at my best and be able to do what I've been able to do here lately. And I really credit that to all the experience.
Is it a bit like how kind of weird is that then? Just having the same date because where you debut, like is it kind of getting a win back on this day, or like is it just not even paying
Oh
much
man,
attention to it?
there's no doubt in my mind it's fate. There's no doubt in my mind what comes around goes around, and as long as you stick to the script, man, and you never stop chasing, never stop believing, good things are gonna come. And it's my destiny. It's just my world playing out. And I internally I really feel that. I latch on to that. It's cool to understand that and be in tune with the universe. And yeah, man, it's just my world. I'm living in it, and I'm excited to go right some wrongs on that date. And I've actually fought around Halloween a few times with the UFC. It's just never been on the exact day. So when I really put that together, I was like, wow, I cannot believe that. How did I miss that? Because I'm a big dates guy, but yeah, man, it is really cool. Everything's coming full circle.
How do you kind of see this one playing out then with you and Khalil? Like coming off that big knockout, like you've seen Khalil knocked him before. It's like kind of how you see it playing out.
Yeah, man, I definitely see. I'll say it. I say it every single time. I'm getting my hands raised, and I really think that I can break Khalil, and I'm going to. I think that I'm just bigger, faster, stronger, and I'm mentally way determined, and just way more. My mind game's just so much stronger than Khalil, and that's going to be one of my biggest assets going into this fight.
Hoping to get another bonus. I've talked to a lot of fighters. Once they get one, they seem to be a bit greedy, where they just kind of expect the paycheck to look like that every time.
Yeah, I know, man. It is really nice, and I told myself last night, man, it's allowed me to do some things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't had it, and super thankful for that. And I'm gonna do everything in my power to go out there and get another one because, man, it makes life so much easier.
Where do you think a win puts you, especially if you finish Khalil? Like, I thought a rank would be next. Like, you're still on the rankings, but then like, I think if you go out there beat back-to-back guys while you're ranked that were unranked, especially if you finish to say another early finish here, like I wouldn't be surprised you're getting a top 10 guy next.
I would really think so, man. I go out there and do what I'm capable of and what I'm supposed to do, and I finish Khalil. I think a top 10 opponent is right after that, probably early next year. Or maybe, someone falls out and there's a chance that December I hop on something. I don't know, man. I was talking to my wife the other night. I'm like, you know what? I might just get something in December if this goes well, and I don't know. I'll just stay ready. And I do like how it's been going. I do like getting my opponent at like 10, 11 weeks, 12 weeks, taking a few weeks to get the game plan going, and then boom, we're right in the main part of camp where we're gonna start. Really nitpicking and dialing some things in. So I do like that as well. But I certainly think a top 10 opponent's right around the corner.
I guess the only kind of downside of fighting in October is it's cutting into the last little couple weeks of golf. Like, you able to get out there during camp?
Yeah, I get out there. I tell you what, I still play. I got a couple times of playing next week. I got my member Saturday. I play a couple times a week, but about 6 weeks out from the fight is when I stop playing and I really just start focusing on the rehab, the recovery, my body, and just making sure that I'm the best version of myself when the October 29th comes around.
The only downside of this fight too is just at the apex. Like, how disappointing is that? Like, you got spoiled 3 times in a row with the fans, and they're sending you back there.
You're exactly right, man. I did get spoiled. I started getting used to it, and it's sad that, man, it's just so sad to me that we still have the apex and there's no fans, thinking of fighting without any fans. It's like, wait a sec. I mean, we're back to everything's fine. We're all normal. I mean, everything else is going on. Why are we still at the apex? And I mean, from a business side, I get it. The UFC is still making their money and they don't have to worry about it. But man, You're right. I got spoiled. I'm gonna miss the fans, and I got so many of my family and friends. Like, are you kidding me? We can't get into the fight. Like, I want. How does this not happen? Like, I want to be there. I'm like, I know, man. It sucks. Like, it's unfortunate, and hopefully we get to, fans every single show. Man, it just makes the environment so much more fun.
Yeah, I don't even know why they're going to the Apex. Like every state's open. Like you could even if you don't want to like these. I get maybe some fight night cards like aren't as good, and you don't want to like have not sell out, but like go to some little like college town with like a 10,000 seat arena or something. If you don't think you
Yeah,
can sell out a big one, just have like some fans part of it.
I agree, man. You know what it is? The UFC still getting paid by ESPN. Either way, they got their deal going, and they're still banking. So it's like, hey, we'll put these cards together. We're still making money. I get it. It's just not fair. It's not fun for the fighters, for the entertainment aspect. But hey, man, I'm used to it. I've been there before. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, that this maybe something like that would affect Khalil, but that's not going to affect the Hanyak. He's going in there headstrong, and he's got to get the job done with fans, with or without fans.
Just last thing, you kind of mentioned it. Hopefully December. Like, is that kind of the goal? Like one more in or early next year if it doesn't happen in December?
Yeah, I mean, it would just have to be the right fight if for this year. If it's a higher ranked guy falls out, and it worked out, I'd be willing to. Assuming that we steamroll, everything goes good October. But other than that, I think early next year sometime. Again, enjoy the holidays, maybe February, March, April, even at the latest, and try to get a big name opponent and get it there, and maybe we make a run at the title next year. My goal this year was to get into the top 10. Unfortunately, I'm going to fall a little bit short of that, but a couple other goals I had was 3 fights, 3 wins. So I get an opportunity to go in there and get a couple checklists, check those off the list, and move on. So hopefully top 10 early next year.
I guess that's the only benefit though. Fighting end of October, you can enjoy Thanksgiving. You don't have to worry about cutting down on the food. You got a fight upcoming.
Yeah, for sure. I got my hunting season. My rifle season for elk opens up that day on fight day, so it'll be fun hunting that next week. And one of my favorite seasons is pheasant hunting with my dog Dak. We get to go out, and it's one of the best times of the year. And then yeah, Thanksgiving, my wife's birthday, Christmas time. It's a bunch of good times ahead, man. And yeah, if there's no fights, I'll be chowing down.
Oh well, Dustin, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate you, bro. We'll catch you again before the fight.
All right, we're joining UFC welterweight Max Griffin, who's back in action here pretty soon. Max, how's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you, Cole?
I'm doing well. Like obviously, last fight, very close fight against Neil Magny, could have gone your way. Like, what do you take away from that fight?
I learned a lot. It was interesting. In the fight, I didn't think I lost. But after the fight, Mick Maynard came back right immediately into the medical tent. Said, "Hey, me and Dana thought you won. We're gonna pay you your win money." So that cash kind of softened the blow. But I didn't know how to feel. Right, like I lost on the card on the judge, but Dana said I won. They paid me, so they really thought I won, like for sure. So it is what it is. But learned some things that I could improve on. Just some small little adjustments, and we've been hammering those. So I think if I would have got the dub, I wouldn't be as relentless as what I'm working on now. So it's a good thing, man. It played out good.
Yeah, because I guess it's a bit different of them just telling you you thought you won rather than them actually giving you your win money, which really backs up their words.
Yeah, it made it weird. It made it weird. Like, did you win? I'm
Yeah.
like, kinda. Like, yeah, I got paid, but so it's a weird. I still don't know how I feel, but it's one of those things.
About 7 months, like pretty close to the date after the last one. Like, did you think you'd get in there a lot sooner than this time?
I did. I did. I had a couple of small injuries. Like I fractured my wrist in the fight. I didn't know, like little stuff that had to be healed.
Mm-hmm.
But I always want to get in. It's really their schedule and where they want to put me.
Disappointed just at the Apex again.
I like. It's weird. It's two things. The Apex is nice. It's nice for what it is. Nice for what it was, which still is. And I've had a couple fights there. I fought Ramiz there when I took his ear. And then when I knocked out Song Kenan, that was at the Apex. So I really like my finish rate likes the Apex. But I really don't like how no one could be there. Tickets are $1,700 a piece, and you got to get 2. So my friends want to go. I'm like, no, don't waste your money. Like, you know, I'd rather have floor seats at MSG, you know, for that much, not at the Apex. So I'm sparing my homies. Hey, we're trying to go. I'm like, no, bro. Like, it's out of price range just on principle, 70 seats. But it's not going to bother me none. I like beating people up there. I like finishing people there. It just makes me calm, and it really is no big deal.
And then getting Tim Means, like, was this someone you had your eye on, or was this just who they gave you? Because, like, he's one of those OGs, been in this division, the sport for a long time. Like, it always felt like you two would fight. Like, are you happy you're getting him now?
Yeah, I am. I didn't know who they're going to give me after the last one, right? Like, where is it going to be? But when I saw the Tim Means name, I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Let's do that. I respect the guy a lot. I actually know him from when I first fought Colby. My first UFC experience, went to the hot tub at Red Rock Hotel. Tim Means is in the hot tub. We're like, holy shit, it's Tim Means. Talk to him a little bit. He gives me advice, though. He's like, look, a lot of people are trying to take your autographs and sell them. So when they try to take your autographs, you ask them, who they make it out to. If they say nobody, then they're trying to sell that shit. So he gave me some, OG advice that I have listened to and have been aware of in my dealings with these little sharks. But yeah, he's good people, man. I like Tim Means. He fights. He's tough, durable, really wants to fight. He's down to fight. I love it. I love the matchup. It was inevitable, but it's business, baby.
Yeah, just kind of build off that. Like, he's a guy that's never in a boring fight. Like, you can't find boring Tim Means fights. Like, does that excite you in training where like this guy's going to be coming forward and like there to stand and trade with you?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Check all the boxes. He's going to bring it. He's real tough. I don't think he's ever lost by knockout. He's had like 40-something fights. So, I mean, that tells you you're tough, right? When you don't get finished. He's been subbed a lot, but he's durable. He's in there. He's seasoned. He's been in there with the best of them. It's like they're sending me to take out all the OGs, man. Sending out all the vets. I got to do my job. And I'm really excited to do all the secret stuff I've been working. Because I've been doing secret stuff that I'm not going to say. But, man, I'll tell you what. Max Payne 2.0.
With Tim, like, what have you made of his run? Like, coming off that submission loss to Kevin Holland, but like before that was on a 3-fight winning streak and like beat some notable names like Mike Perry and Nick Dalby.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. It is. He's still beating guys, which is nice. And yeah, he got beat by Kevin Holland, but I mean Kevin's real good. But yeah, he had a 3-fight win streak. I was looking at that, I'm like, oh, he's been doing a damn thing. So I'm looking forward to it. The fans look forward to it. It's going to be carnage. Carnage, beautiful violence.
How do you kind of see this one playing out? Like, Tim is very durable. Like, if he gets finished, it's by submissions. Like, how do you kind of see yourself winning?
Maybe beat him up, submit him, trade with him. I have a lot. What I like about Tim is he's a real fighter. Like, he will sit there, plant his feet, and sit there and trade. And it's going to bring the best out of me to fight a guy that is like myself as far as pressure and, like, mindset. We're both going to be fucking – it's going to be great.
Who are the main people? Like, is it Fluffy and all like the usual cast and crew from Alpha Male that you're working with?
Yeah. MMA Gold too, Mara Nobles. Yeah, same cast, but I'm doing some more stuff. Doing some more stuff behind the scenes. Training with some really good dudes, really high level guys, a lot. So yeah, man, I'm really just bringing more into my game, and did a ton. Like my gas tank and my pace has been really my focus for the last 7 months. You know, gas tank, gas tank, gas tank, gas tank, gas tank, push, 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 pressure. So little weapons are being formed, and it will be used on the 29th.
Is that something you noticed in your last fight? Like, is working on the gas tank and the pressure? Is that something you've just always worked on and like always wanted to work on?
Just something more. I mean, Magny held me for half a round, you know, 3/4 of a round in the last fight. But I find when I have unlimited energy, I only slow down at all certain moments, but we got out of it's really just more urgency, just more. And adding that into my repertoire, just in my mindset, is gonna be not gonna be, but it is very scary right now. And I can't. It's you know what? I can wait because I'm still peaking. I'm still, I'm still making the soup. You know, you can't rush it. So dinner will be ready October 29th. But until then, we're just going through the processes. I'm writing all my stuff down, my habits, my expectations, my responsibilities, and making it tangible so I could see it. So then I can look, did I do this? Did I do that? I'm really checklisting everything that works for me, things I need to do, things. I'm just becoming more efficient and more like a machine. But I'm healthy, like doing recovery like 3 times a day now. So I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock now. So there's stuff that I've adjusted in my life. I mean, I was going to bed at 1 o'clock for the last 10 years in the morning, you know. Now I'm really putting a priority on my recovery, my training. I'm always training. But to get more sleep, you know, maybe I'll turn off the Netflix and won't watch something. Let me get some sleep. Let me get 2 more hours of sleep. Let me get my whoop in the green. Let me make my body prime for the next day. And it's just been a wave of greatness. So, you live this one life, baby. So blow the shit up.
Do you put any pressure to get the finish? Like last 4 fights have gone the distance, 3 splits, all 4 could have gone your way. Like, are you putting any pressure to get that finish?
You talking about my fights?
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I had 2 finishes before.
No, I'm talking like when you lose, like it's 4. Like
you're saying when I lose?
Yeah, it's 4 losses, 3 splits, all could go your way. Like, do you put any pressure to get the finish?
Always, man. Really not. Really, I've in the past maybe I put too much effort on the outcome, but you got to put it on the income. You got to put it on what you're doing before. So now I'm banking on all the shit I'm doing now, the shit I did yesterday, all the shit I did 3 months ago. I'm building every day certain skills and certain techniques just for him. All southpaw, all this, like exact. So by the time I get there, it's history. Like the weight cut's the tough part. Not eating those freaking jelly beans, you know, that's the tough part. The fight is gonna be what it's gonna be. But yeah, it's gonna come. It'll come. He'll give it to me. He'll give me everything that I want.
You get that stoppage win or just the win in general. Like, where do you think that puts you? Because like you're kind of in a weird spot. Like, if you beat Magny, you wouldn't be in this fight. Like, you'd be fighting someone in the top 10. Like, I have to imagine you beat Tim. Like, they're probably gonna give you another big name or rank guy next.
I ain't would care anymore, man. It's like you're gonna fight who you're gonna fight. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, if I beat Magny, I'd be number 9. But I didn't. But I kind of did. That's why we didn't know like who you're gonna match me up as. But ranked, not ranked, vet, champion, whoever. Like line them up, and then they're all going to get sniped out right now.
Just last thing, like, do you think this is probably it for you this year, just because there's only a couple cards after you? Like, so what is kind of the goal then for next year?
Yeah, I want to fight early next year. Someone asked me already if I'm fighting the end of the year. That's November, December. I mean, they have something, but just based on how they do me, like, I fight probably twice a year, maybe 3 times, but not with a month left. I highly doubt it. I mean, I'm down. He's durable. Tim's durable, so might be a little bruised up, but I'd like to fight more. You know, I'd like to fight much as they let me, but they got me on the rag, baby. I don't know.
Well, Max, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for doing this again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cole.
Yeah. All right, we're joined by UFC featherweight Chase Hooper, who's back in action at the end of October. Chase, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. Just
with your fight, like obviously you got the big win in May, turning almost like 5 months pretty much to the day, like just short of 5 months. Like this about the right time frame, or are you hoping to get back in there a bit sooner?
No, this is pretty good. I feel like sorry about that. I feel like I need a little bit of time to just let my body recover after fights and stuff. You know, like all the little bumps and bruises you get, and just to kind of let my body heal from all the dieting and stuff too, just the weight cut and all that. But yeah, I feel like obviously between my last fight and the one before was 11 months. Now it's way too long. So definitely happy to be getting back in there sooner and try to keep the momentum rolling forward.
With Steve Garcia, like, was this a guy you knew much about, or do you have your on him, or is this just kind of who they gave you?
Honestly, we'd asked for a couple guys, and then this is who they came back with us at. But it's a fun matchup, kind of a similar situation where it's a guy changing weight classes. So obviously, like, he wasn't necessarily on my radar, but you know, I just try to keep eyes down and forward at 45. But it's a fun matchup. I really like his style, and it's fun to be able to fight like a taller guy a little bit, like not quite the same body type, but a little closer to mine, like a little taller. Yeah, I think it's a really fun matchup.
And then his last fight, he got knocked out. Like, are you surprised he's returning this soon? Like, it's only like, I think, just shy of 4 months after that fight.
Yeah, I you know, obviously I don't know what everybody's situation is. But personally, I feel as if you get, like Luke Rockhold kind of did a smarter job, like, you know, take a year off, let your brain heal. It's not, with the weight cut and all that, it's not great for your head. Definitely take the time off if you need it. Don't jump back in there too soon. There's a lot of people that used to do that in the old school days, and now you're kind of seeing the aftermath of that. So I think it's definitely important to take your time to recover, but everybody's also got to pay their bills. So it's definitely a toss up. You can't just, you know, fight once a year. Most people can't, but yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, and it's a fun matchup, and I don't know. We'll see kind of how that him shifting back down weight classes will affect it. I know most of his career he was a 35er. I want to say he tried to do 35 on Contender, missed weight, and then they signed him at 45 short notice. Mm-hmm. I think he also missed weight for that, so they bumped him to 55. So now he's trying to go back down. So yeah, definitely interesting. It's interesting seeing guys bounce around a lot. I feel like it's hard to kind of build up momentum in a specific weight class like that.
Yeah, he had 3 straight fights at lightweight. Like, all his UFC fights are at lightweights. Like, is that a concern for you that he might miss, or is that something you can't really think about then?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really affect what I've got going on. You know, he's a 35er for most of his career. I think he's just getting older and doesn't like cutting weight as much. But I don't think he didn't look like a crazy big 55er. You know, not like some of these monsters. So I think he can make the weight, no problem. That's the hope, at least. You know, but as long as the commission will allow it, and as long as we get to step into that octagon on the 29th, then it'll all be perfect on my end.
Even though he's a guy that fought at lightweight, like you're still gonna have a reach advantage. So like you're usually taller than a lot of guys. Like how do you think that's gonna play a role in this fight?
Yeah, it's kind of working my way up. I'm one of the taller guys for the division. I think I'm obviously on the bigger end still, but he's not too far off as far as the reach goes. And that's kind of what I wanted, is to fight a longer guy. Yeah, it's just like fighting all these short guys. It's easy just biologically having that advantage. So getting to fight somebody who's a similar height and try and test my my striking, my wrestling, and all that against a guy that's got a similar or closer to similar body type than all these short, stocky wrestlers. It's definitely an interesting matchup, and it really it's intrigued me because it's a different style, and I'm fighting a guy that was at 55 for a while, so maybe fighting a bigger guy, maybe not. But yeah, I think it's kind of a test that I need to start making that momentum and moving forward in the division.
And then I know you spend obviously a lot of time, well, not a lot of time, but I know you go down to Wonder Boy's gym and kind of work with him on your striking. Like I think you've been doing it a couple camps now. Like how beneficial do you think that has been for your striking?
Coincidentally, I'm in South Carolina right now.
Yeah.
It's great. Even like I had some of the guys at the gym asking me, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna try to like get work in with Wonder Boy?" And I was like, "Well, I don't really feel like I need to go out of my way to be like, hey, like please train with me." Like I feel like I can get great looks and great training from everybody in the room. They just have a different style. They all have super crisp striking. They have really good wrestling in that gym too, and it's it's fun to get the different looks and then kind of get similar drilling that I get in jiu-jitsu, but on the striking side of things and really tune everything up. Just trying to be a more well-rounded fighter overall.
And then you're working on your wrestling too. Like everyone knows how good your jiu-jitsu is. It's the whole point is getting it to the mat. Like when like Weidman's there, like all the guys Thompson has, like how it's especially not just striking where you can learn from actually getting peeled down on the ground. Like how big is that for your game as well?
That's the kind of one of the best parts about the gym is like I get to work on the two sides that I'm I would say less experienced on and less skilled with. So getting to go against these high level guys that have high level wrestling and high level striking, and then having to I guess kind of build my fight IQ a little bit between like the different guys and figure out how to get the fight to where it benefits me in all the training and sparring and all that. So it's great, and they have a really good like camaraderie down here. Like everybody's super cool to train with, which is always nice. You never really know going into other gyms like that, but yeah, everybody's great down here, and I'm having a great time. I'm gonna come back out a little later in the camp and just kind of keep getting more work and get those different looks.
Back at the Apex as well, a bit disappointed with that, or do you like going there?
No, I mean, the last time I was at the Apex, they gave me a bonus, so I can't complain. It's such a fun, I don't know if they've announced it as the main, but Tilpuri and Barbosa, as a fan, I'm going to be excited to be able to watch that live. And it's just, like I could care less if I'm fighting in front of 12 people or 12,000. It's all about just going out there and doing the damn thing. Like it doesn't really raise the stakes for me. I'm more not scared, but like focused on and worried about the guy that's standing across from me than I am, whatever's going on around the rest of the room. So yeah, I don't think that'll be a big change or anything. And it'll be nice because the Apex shows are so well structured and exactly how it's going to go. You're going to have a ton of space to warm up. You're going to be able to use a wall. It's just such a smoothly run show. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
By the time this fight rolls around, you'll still only be 23. Like what? And you're already like, what is it, 5th or 6th UFC fight? Like, is it still crazy how many UFC fights you already have? And like, you're still not even 25. And like a lot of people aren't even getting into the UFC till their late 20s.
Yeah, it's definitely, sometimes I'll think about it. It's definitely weird to think about like this goal that you've had since you were a little kid, to get there and to be able to, stick around and have more than just a couple fights, and try to make a career out of this is definitely crazy. Just the sacrifices that I've made to get here. And, it's really vindicating, I guess. Just having given up all that time with, family, friends, all that to, spend it in the gym and keep getting better, and to know that I'm good enough now to be in the UFC. I think that the imposter syndrome's wearing off a little bit. I'm feeling like I belong here now. And I'm ready to show off, all the improvements I made. And yeah.
Yeah, that's something it's kind of stuck out to me from our interview before your fight last time, is how you said like you wanted to kind of prove to everyone that you belong here. Like, is that still something you're dealing with every fight, or is it now like is there still a lot of pressure on you to not only win but like make a statement, because there's still people saying like, oh, Chase is still too young or he shouldn't be in the UFC?
I think I've definitely grown accustomed to the other people saying it. Sometimes I'll go down the rabbit hole. I'll look on the people like with the trash talking comments, and go look through their stuff and see like, oh, this dude works at Arby's or something. Like, I don't know. It really takes the sting away when you're like, oh, this person hasn't, like, they're just angry that I am where I am, I guess. I don't know. You get used to it, which is kind of funny, but it's really like proving it to myself, I guess. So that I can go out with the confidence to know that, I have the skill set that I need to win, and to, stay working in the UFC, stay moving up the division, and that, again, that I belong here. But it's more proving it to myself than everybody else at this point.
How do you kind of see this one playing out then with you and Steve?
Honestly, like, I don't know. I think the last fight, I kind of had a certain idea of how the fight was going to go with Colares, and it really, like, grappling was kind of at the back of my mind. I was like, oh, I'm going to try to strike with him for a little bit. But it's just, trusting your instincts. That's been another thing for me that's been huge, is trusting that, in those split-second decisions, I'll know what to do and I'll make the right decision. So it's not trying to game plan too much or worry too much about what he's going to do, but just, I think it's been trying to just keep myself mellow and keep myself, kind of amped up. Kind of sounds like it's counterproductive, but, you want to keep the room light. You want to, like, joke around and stuff, have a good time while you're, getting ready to go fight some dude. But then, when the time comes, flip the switch. And that's kind of been the thing for me, is I guess not thinking so much about like, oh, I have to fight this dude, and switching it to be like, oh, he has to fight me. So it's been building that confidence. It's been building these, pathways into my brain, knowing what's going to happen. And I think I'll be able to show off, hopefully even more than I did on the last fight.
Do you put any pressure on yourself to like get a finish, or is it more just always about just getting your hand raised, even if it's a decision?
No, I think while you're in there, it's obviously it's disappointing when you don't get a finish. Like in the moment, if you get close, you're like, oh shit, I think I could have finished that, but it didn't happen. So it's kind of not really getting down on yourself. Obviously, I'd rather get the 2 paychecks than the 1 regardless. That's been the biggest thing. But no, I feel like in the fight, I'm just constantly, trying to win, trying to keep putting the pressure on these guys. And if that happens to end in a finish, which for all my UFC wins, it has, then that's great. But if not, a win's still a win. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm always happy to get out of the fight early and not have to spend that whole 15 in there.
You beat Steve and say you finish him. Like, where do you think that puts you in the division? It would be 2 wins in a row, say 2 finishes. Like, where do you think that kind of puts you?
I think from there, I can start looking up at the division. Obviously, I would assume I'd need a couple more before I feel ready, and before UFC feels ready to push me towards the ranked opponents. But there's definitely like a higher tier to the unranked guys. So it's trying to move up to that, to where you're fighting these guys that are, on the cusp of the top 15, but they're not quite there. So I think, win this fight and then get 1 or 2 there. And then, really depending on how everything goes and depending on where my skill set's at, just trying to, work my way up from there. Obviously, I still have a ton of time, so it's trying not to rush, and just kind of do what's best for my career, just kind of in the moment, whether it's taking time off or whether it's, taking fights quicker. It's just, just playing it by ear and again, trusting myself and trusting that I know what's best for my career.
I've noticed, I'm not sure if you probably have as well. Like, do you think as you've gotten more fights and like you've kind of shown more to your game, like to me, I've noticed less people calling you out. Like when you first joined the UFC, like you were a popular call for like anyone that first got into the UFC. It seems like less and less people are calling you out. Like, do you take that as like a compliment that they see you're getting better and they don't want to call you out? Or like, why do you think they kind of is?
I think, yeah, like I think in the beginning of my career, it's like, if you look at it on paper, you're like, oh, I want to get this kid while he's young, not quite developed all the way, not quite as experienced. So that they can, get that win early and kind of keep that feather in their cap. But yeah, I think now that I've shown off more submissions, more TKO stuff, it's a little more of it, a little bit more dangerous of a fight, I think, for people looking around. Obviously, I don't think anybody in UFC is necessarily scared of anybody else. We're all good enough to be here. We're all, world-class level. But I will say that I have asked for some of the guys that have called me out, and I heard crickets back. So that's kind of the other thing is obviously people do it for the media attention when they do call you out. But the other side of it is if UFC doesn't want that fight, they're not going to make it. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like call outs don't really work in the unranked side of things as much. They just don't make as much sense because I think UFC has a bigger vision of the fights that they are looking at for each person. So I don't think they're really going out of their way to take those matchups seriously.
And then just last thing, like end of October, I know you're a guy that doesn't really rush anything. You think this is probably it for the year and just probably enjoy the holidays and come back early next year?
Definitely. Yeah. It's just the weight cut and all that is just so much on my body that I can't take these short notice fights. I need a full camp in order to get my body correct and to make sure that I'm training smart. And again, it's like I have so much time, developing and all that still. So it's, again, not trying to rush anything and make the best decisions long term and not just taking fights to take fights, but really being smart and taking care of my body and my brain and all that. So, I think it's trying to see the bigger picture there.
Well, Chase, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this.
Hey, sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, we're joined by UFC heavyweight Jared Vanderaa, who's back in action in October. Jared, how's it going, man?
It's going all right. Just chilling around some fires in my little town of Hemet. But besides that, pretty good.
Last time we talked was before the Chase fight. You said that you thought you were fighting for your job. Obviously, it didn't go your way. Like, are you surprised you're getting another UFC fight then?
It's my last fight on my contract, so regardless, I am now officially fighting for my job. By all means. I know like my manager is solid, so he does his job, and that's why I'm still have my own job. So, I also paid dividends by taking a lot of short notice fights for the UFC. So, in a way, they've just been like, okay, you helped us. We're going to help you by actually honoring your last fight on your contract. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I made some more noticeable changes. I'm now at King's instead of Dan's. A lot of people are liking the results that they're already seeing from King's. So I'm hoping, I show something new, something more in this upcoming fight. Like right now I'm pretty much on weight. I've been floating between like 269 to like 273. So if I really have to cut weight, make weight tomorrow, I'll be golden. Yeah.
So. I was just gonna say, like, why did you make the move then in gyms?
A few reasons. I haven't really talked about this because I kind of respectfully, I love everyone at Dan's, but it's just at the end of it, I felt like I became very stagnant, very plateaued. I didn't feel like I was getting better. Uh, I have also tried. I tried mixing things up where I wouldn't feel so stiff. But at the end of it, I I wasn't getting better. I wasn't improving. I wasn't yeah, there's small improvements for sure, but not like improvements that need to be made more quickly, more swiftly. I kind of looked around. I looked at Icon Gym. I love them and stuff like that. Just I needed a little bit more bigger guys. And so I went to Kings, and they had a few light heavyweights. They have one heavyweight now, and I was like, all right. But I just like the intensity that they come with. Like talking to people, everyone were like, yeah, Kings, they go hard all the time. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. I talked to Rafael. He was like, yeah, just come in. I want you to try out one of these classes. And literally, I tried out one of the classes. I'm like, I'm signing up. I signed up right then and there. I like the vibe that the guys bring. I mean, everyone there is pretty cool. Giant language barrier between like half of 80% of the gym. Like most of them speak Portuguese. Like a good handful of them speak Italian, and some of them just speak Spanish, and I'm just like, oh my god, my Spanish is trash. But I'm like, I could have a slight conversation with them. It's like my Portuguese non-existence, Italian none. I'm like, and then those, and we all I mean, most of them have some broken English that we could work around, but I mean, everyone's there for the same thing, and there's just good spirited people, and I have really nothing bad to say about King so far. I mean, sure, like everything, eventually down the road, there will be some drama or something dumb. And I'm enjoying it right now because it's maybe the honeymoon phase. When you get into like a new relationship, you're like, yeah. It's kind of like that with Kings because it's new and it's still exciting. But again, I the atmosphere there is just something that is contagious.
And then your opponent in Waldo Cortez Acosta just got his UFC deal on the Contender Series. Did you know anything about him, or did you watch his Contender Series fight live when it was happening?
Yes, I actually watched it live. Actually, it's one of the few things I do watch consistently is the content. One because I came off of it, but two I like there's it's a little bit more enjoyable to watch than sometimes one of the bigger cards or like an LFA card or something like that. Like Contender Series fights, they tend to just go. Most of them tend to explode with excitement, so I tend to watch it. And more I'm in the sport, more and more I actually know people that are fighting for Contender Series. So I always love to show them support too.
And then what did you make of his performance on that show, getting the contract?
Um, I remember him just swinging pretty hard. Um, I've done a little research, not too much. But he's a boxer, so I expected that knockout. Like he was looking for the knockout hard. Um, but he's what 7-0 or something like that. Yeah, he belongs. I do think he'll do fine in the UFC. So I'm the first fight though. Like a lot of people are like, oh, they're giving you to him so they can cut you. I'm like, okay, well, I've disappointed many people in my life. I'll disappoint the UFC this time around. I'm like, everyone has a turn of me disappointing them one way or another.
Yeah, when you got this offer, like, is that kind of how you viewed it, as they're trying to build him up off of you, or is it something where like they kind of want to see where he's at? Like, how do you kind of view this matchup?
Well, I mean, you could take it either way. It's like they're trying to get rid of you, or they're trying to see where he's at. If he can't beat me, it's like, okay, well, he might have more trouble with like the guys that are above me. If like if he, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, and in a sense, I've also had just a little bit harder of a run than most people when they start in. I think everyone I've fought except or two people out of 7 were all ranked in the top 15 in the last 2 to 3 years.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I beat one that wasn't ranked, and I lost to another one that wasn't ranked. But and even then, that was a short notice fight. And so, if he beats me, he could be potentially matched with someone that's already ranked. If he loses to me, they might be like, okay, you're going to be maybe mid tier where like I am right now. They might put him with like Hoffa or I'm trying to think of people that are still active in the UFC that aren't cut. I was going to say Carlos Felipe, but he got cut. Like maybe Jake Collier.
Yeah.
Can't say his last name to save my life. Or maybe a Chase Sherman. Like, he beat me. Like, we're all still kind of stuck in that mid tier range. And until he, beats enough of us to get out of it, or, really shows that he can, it's just one of those things. And for me, it's like I don't care if he's a new guy or not, because I'm going to eventually run into another new guy down down the block. Let's say I go on a 3-4 fight winning streak, and I run into this newcomer, like the next Francis Ngannou type person in 2 to 3 years. Who knows? Like, you can't be like, oh, the new guy is nah. I don't care.
And then with this one, like, how do you kind of see playing out? Like, obviously, he's a very good striker, ton of knock power. You have a lot of power yourself, but like, your wrestling's there where we haven't really seen much of his wrestling. It's like, how do you kind of see this playing out?
Oh, well, I don't know, to be honest with you, because like I'm Kings is very striking oriented, but they are very much willing to push the jiu-jitsu and whatnot. So I've been doing everything uh that they've told me to do. I've been training as hard as I can. I feel like I've improved in my striking, my wrestling, and my grappling, and I'm getting more confident to take this fight a lot more places than I have been before. Be willing to take it to the ground if I need to, but also being willing to exchange on the feet if I need to also. So I'm gonna take the openings that he gives me and try to capitalize on them.
Is there any pressure on you to like go out there and stop him, especially just because it's on the last fight of your deal? Is it more just about getting your hand raised, even if it's a decision?
Uh, like I want to stop him I want to finish him for my own personal I feel like I'm in this rut where I haven't let myself go and let myself actually give myself the chance to finish. One of my biggest flaws is I always overthink things, so I'm I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to just do it. And I think I could finish them if I just do it. So I'm going this fight with the idea of, excuse me, that I want to finish it for myself. And I want to go, if I lose, I want to go out knowing that I did everything to lose. You know, like I want to go out there like, hey, I tried this, I tried that, I did everything I could possibly can. And if I lose, it's like I could feel like I failed the best I could. But I don't see that happening. I see myself winning, so we'll deal with that bridge when it comes.
Just last question, like you go out there and finish him, like where do you think that puts you? Like obviously hopefully gets you a new deal, but like where do you think that puts you in the division?
Still on the bottom end.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not going to be like, oh, I need this fight. No, I'm still at the bottom, and honestly, I don't need to like I could see me fighting maybe after this the dude that like I could maybe see myself fighting Badot
Mm-hmm.
or the person that he's just fought that Polish guy.
Yeah, Bleshki or whatever it is, something like that.
I can see, like that makes a little bit more sense. Or let's see. So like, another guy in the same like area of me, maybe Jake Collier or hell, I would even run it back with Orlovsky if he wins this fight. So I mean, where they point, I will go and fight. I don't care.
Well, Jared, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for doing this again. I appreciate it as always.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're jumping UFC middleweight Joseph Holmes, who's got his third UFC fight booked. Joseph, how's it going, man?
Good, bro. Just on the road back home to Texas. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, what are you going home for? Just a visit, or like what's kind of the reason for the trip?
No, we're in the middle of camp, so we come out to Kansas City for training with Kraus. I think we came out 4 weeks. We have 2 more weeks out here, and we just go home on the weekend so my girl can work.
And then, obviously, your last fight, like we talked after of like 64 seconds. Was this a lot longer wait than after that? Because I thought that you'd get back in there pretty quickly after that.
Well, I had a trip. I took my girl to Hawaii where I proposed to her out there, and so I wanted to get in sooner, but it was kind of just like a awkward window of time. So then I told them I wanted some time like in a camp before my next fight. So I've been aware of this fight for the last month and a half, and then I still have another like month and a half as well. So.
And then your opponent in Jun Young Park, like how familiar were you with him when you got this name?
I mean, I had only seen him fight Eric Anders, and they fought the same night as I did. He didn't really seem that impressive, and he kind of seemed a little small when I saw him. I didn't realize he was a middleweight until I saw who he was fighting. But I mean, he's just another name on the board.
Yeah, you are going to be a lot bigger, like a 7-inch reach advantage. Like, how important do you think that's going to be in the fight? Because not many fights you have like someone has 7 or more inches reach advantage.
I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's basically everything. I mean, when you have that type of advantage, I think I have 7 inches in height. He's 5'10". I'm 6'4", and then or 7 inches in reach, and then I don't know. I don't want to do math, but a lot of inches in height too. But it's all gonna kind of like make the fight. It makes it pretty obvious what he has to do to try and win. He has to try and get in. He has to try and put me on the cage and take me to the ground. But I mean, I thrive on the ground as well. So just gonna get in there and do what I'm supposed to do and execute this fight, be present in the moment, and enjoy the entire process.
Are you expecting him to just try to like clinch you and wrestle you the entire time then?
Oh, for sure. He's not gonna stand up with me. I'd imagine he'll probably go for a takedown as early as the first 20 seconds of the fight, just because. I mean, what else can he do? He's not gonna jab for jab with me, and he seems like a winner. I mean, when I watch his footage when I first got the fight, he seems like a winner. So I'd imagine he's pretty smart. His coaches aren't gonna, let him get egotistical. He doesn't really seem like the kind of guy who has an ego. So yeah, he's absolutely gonna try and grapple me.
What have you made of his UFC run? Because like he has a winning record, but a lot of the guys he has beaten aren't even in the UFC anymore. And then he obviously got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez and submitted by Anthony Hernandez, and those are probably 2 of the best guys he's faced.
I just feel like he's fought some scary guys. I mean, he's fought some high level guys, and I mean, I'll probably be his last fight in the UFC as well. He's gonna most likely be on his way out after I'm done with him, and it's just like everybody. I feel like we're all kind of in this weird spot right now where there's just so many guys in the roster that they're kind of just like trying to weave back through us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this guy beat this guy, and okay, this guy's out, let him move up. You know, kind of just like a weird situation like that. So, hey, he's just another name on the board for me.
Oh yeah, especially them signing so many guys off the Contender Series. Like it seems like guys are only losing 1 or 2 fights, and they're getting like sent out. Where before you could lose like 3 or 4 and just let out your whole contracts. Like, does that put more pressure on you? Where like you don't even know, like maybe 1 loss and you're out with the way they're cutting guys?
Yeah, maybe it could put more pressure on me, but I don't really deal with all the pressure until the day of anyway. So the day of, we're all kind of dealing with all this pressure, and a lot of us don't know how to deal with it. You know, so they like a lot of us will deal with all that pressure the entire time, and I kind of just try and prefer to deal with it on the day of. So yeah, it could be more pressure, but at the end of the day, it's something you can be more proud of. You know, like you're lasting in the sport, and you know, in the sport, it's a lot harder to last. So definitely, I'd be proud once I get through this fight of myself, ready to move forward to my next contract.
And with Park, like, how do you kind of see yourself matching up against him? Because obviously, I think we kind of talked about it a bit. Like, your striking's good, your grappling's very underrated, and for him, like, he has a very similar style, but it seems like he's more on that grappling focus oriented guy.
Yeah, I just feel like a guy like him, he's not really trying to be like entertaining at all. Like he gets in there and he's just kind of just like just trying to win, which is okay. Like, you know, I'm a winner too, so I definitely see it. Like he's a winner, but you know, he's not really in the sport for the right reason. Like I'm here to win, but I'm here to win in an entertaining way. You know, where people want to see me come back, and I just don't imagine that people like remember who he is a week later after his fight, just because of how he likes to win. He goes to a lot of decisions. He has like a good amount of late fight, you know, victories, which is okay. You know, it shows he can last, but you know, like nobody wants to see all that boring ass shit. Like, get in there and fight, bro. Like, let's get in there and fight. Like, this isn't. I don't look at this sport like a game. I look at this sport like an actual fight. Like, we're in here trying to fight. So for guys to kind of just like, you know, I guess like how Morey says, like, snip your crotch the whole fight or whatever. Like, that shit's boring, and I'm not interested in it. So guys like him, just take them out, move forward. You know, show them where they actually are in this sport, and that's just beneath me.
Who are the main guys you're working with for this one? Because there's a lot of good middleweights and like heavier guys at Glory for you to work with.
Julian's always one of my main partners. A guy named Daniel Olajigo, who's coming up. He's really good as well. Really strong guy, 205er, but I think he wants to get to 185 as well. You got Niles Bartling. He was just on the Ultimate Fighter. He's one of my big training partners. And then Krause, of course. I get as many one-on-ones as I can with him, and just a good amount of like up and coming guys who are also really hungry. Like my guy Mac out there at Glory, and trying to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Cole, when he's around. Cole just had a fight, so he hasn't been around the last couple weeks. But Cole Robertson, when he's around, I try and get my rounds in with him.
And then with Krause, like, to me, one of the smartest guys in the entire sport, like coach, fighter, doesn't matter. Like the way he could break down fights is like incredible. Like how much confidence does that have when he's kind of coming up with the game plan for your fight? Because he sees stuff that I think most people probably don't even see in fights.
Yeah. Oh, also I forgot Zach Cummings. He's also one of my training partners. But no, it's huge on my confidence. Like to me, he's kind of just like a fight encyclopedia. So like as long as I can be present in the moment and hear his advice and execute, I'm solid. So I'm super confident that he'll tell me what I need to know to win. And the biggest thing for me is just to make sure I hear him.
And then how do you kind of see this one playing out?
Excuse me. I'm probably take him out first round. Take him out. Just hurt him. I know, like I said, he's going to try and grapple me, which early in the fight, it's really easy to grapple because you're not really slick and sweaty yet. So I can see him trying to grapple me. As long as I stuff his takedowns and just keep my hand in his face, I mean, there's not really much he's going to do. I've been really perfecting my craft with my certain weapons that people have been seeing a little bit more, like my knee and my overhands, and I'm gonna just put them on him. Just put them on him. I hope to take him out in the first round. I don't really see us going the whole fight because I know that's what he wants. If we end up going the whole fight, I'll be playing his game, and that's not what I plan to do.
Do you think it's more likely you catch him with something, or do you think it's similar to what the Allen fight, where you maybe catch him and then get that sub, or maybe you get a hold of his neck when he shoots a bad shot? Like, you think it's more like you knock him out or you submit him?
He's gonna try and grapple a lot, so I'm not gonna say I won't submit him because if it's there, I'm gonna wrap his neck up, but I'll definitely catch him slipping for sure because I've just been working too hard, been getting light on my feet, moving around, setting things up, setting traps, and I'm doing it to people that are way better than him. So yeah, I'm just gonna put it on him.
And then you get that stoppage win. Like, where do you think that puts you in the division? Because it's 2 wins in a row and 2 could be first round finishes.
Well, this guy's ranked 36 right now, so it at least puts me in under top 50, which is huge for me. And then 2 first round finishes. Hopefully, it doesn't put me too far up there, so they're not, trying to throw me into some crazy stuff. But hopefully, I can just keep gradually, gaining and fighting the right fights. And I got Iridium Sports picking my fights, so they're best management company in the world, and I just need to just show up, and I guarantee I'll be at the title within the next 2-3 years.
Just 2 more things. A bit disappointed, just back at the Apex with no fans again. Like, you haven't got that fan experience yet.
I'm not disappointed, but like the people that are around, like people around me, are a little disappointed because everybody's like, "Oh, how can I go? How can I go?" My mom has a birthday coming up. She's like, "Oh, message Dana. I want to be there," and I'm just like, well, I'm just training for the fight. I'll ask, but can't promise you anything. So to me, it's all good, but everyone around me, they're a little bit bummed out about it.
Just last thing, like end of October, like you think this is probably it for you then? Or are you hoping maybe squeak one more in, or just probably like what's kind of the goal in for the rest of the year?
I would love to squeeze the second one in, like December. I got a wedding I'm planning right now. I would absolutely love to be able to squeeze in the second one. So, that's kind of why I've been training so hard, looking to just be able to take this guy out right away, avoid any actual danger, which he's not really super dangerous. Most dangerous he is just like tire you out, trying to hug you the whole fight. So just definitely just take him out quick as I can so I can get another one in December or even right away.
Well, Joseph, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Thank you so much, Cole. Talk soon, bro.
All right, we're joined by UFC middleweight Josh Fremd, who's back in action in October. Josh, how's it going?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, obviously we talked before your debut and you took that on short notice against Anthony. Like, after that fight, like, what do you kind of take away from that fight? Because that was a really fun, entertaining fight, and you showed a lot in there, even taking it on short notice.
I'm glad it was entertaining, but I took a lot away from it. Just I wanted to show obviously a lot more in there, but I did show that I'm not gonna quit on myself no matter what happens. I was tired as hell in that fight. I'm working to fix that. Like, I thought I was in shape. I thought I was in, even though it was short notice, I thought that thought I had it in me, and there are certain moments that I definitely wish that I could, go back and fix, but that's the past is the past. I'm moving forward, and I'm ready to put on a show this next one.
And then you're obviously booked to fight Trayshawn in July. You follow your teammate Cody Brundage, takes the fight, gets the win. Like, after that fight, did you think they'd rebook this one, or do you think you'd get a different opponent?
I honestly wasn't sure. The UFC is interesting. I mean, I've seen guys go 0-2 and they get cut. I've seen them allow people to fight out their contract. I really wasn't sure what was going to go on, but all I knew is, hey, I'm ready to fight. Let's book a fight. Let's get, dialed in. And Trayshawn was available and they offered him to me. And I was like, all right, we had that one booked. And, I had an unfortunate incident. So let's run it back. Let's get our opportunity now.
And then what did you take away from Cody's win against him? Because Trayshawn, like on top, was hyped up, and then for his debut, he's talking like he was going to be a double champ and all that, and now he's 0-2 in the UFC, could be fighting for his job against you.
Oh, I for sure. Both of us are fighting for our job, I feel like. So I only expect to get a better version of Trayshawn. And what I saw from Cody was exactly what he told me a couple weeks before the fight when we were sitting around, hanging out, watching the UFC fights. I remember him going on an interview saying that he has one punch knockout power. And so I was, messing with him about it, and he went out and he showed me. So Cody Brundage is just leveling up at an incredible pace, and I'm very happy to have him as a teammate to push me to new heights. So all impressive on his end. And, with Gore, I expect Gore to come back with, he's probably in the lab right now working as we speak. So I expect the best Trayshawn to show up.
And then how much of an advantage is it where you have Cody that fought him so he can help you out? Then you have Mark that did all the tape on him and studied him already. So it's like it has to be a bit easier for you guys to game plan for him.
I mean, you would think for sure. We definitely see areas where we could capitalize, and there's also areas in my game that I am tightening up as we speak. But styles make fights. Cody is an absolute stud of a wrestler, and his hands are just showing up. He's been working on them, and they're showing. I'm not the type that's gonna go out there and shoot on you, so we'll see what Trayshawn comes with. I'm gonna stand toe to toe, and I'm gonna be ready for anything.
When I talked to Cody before the fight, he thought Trayshawn would be a lot more active because he thought that's why he lost the fight against Battle, was because he didn't throw enough volume. Then after the fight, he said he was surprised that he still wasn't throwing much. Like, are you kind of expecting the same? Are you expecting him to pick up that volume, or do you think that's just kind of the way he fights? He's a guy that's not going to throw a whole lot.
Well, I mean, hopefully he learns from it and he starts throwing a little bit more. I think that would be disadvantages to him to try and be a little bit more active, because I'm going to be able to push the pace a little more. But we'll see. I mean, I'm going to show up as though Trayshawn has been working his ass off, and he's going to come a whole new other fighter. And in the first minute or two, I'm going to figure out, what he's about, and he's going to figure out what I'm about, and we're going to see where it goes.
And then something Cody said too as well is how he and Mark kind of thought if he could extend the fight, that's where he's going to have a lot of success, just because they thought Gore's cardio kind of went down. Like, is that similar with you? Like, obviously you want to end fight quickly, but if it goes later, like that's an advantage for you.
I definitely feel if it goes later, it's an advantage for me. But I also think that, I possess a lot of power. I haven't got to show it in my last couple fights, but I'm planning on going out there and making statements. So I plan on ending it in the first dozen.
So I was just saying, like, how you said it kind of earlier, like you want that early stoppage. Like, how do you kind of see this playing out then?
I see a lot of holes in his striking. He is very young in the sport. So there's definitely areas in his kickboxing, his boxing, that I feel like I could capitalize on.
And then you're obviously a very good grappler as well. Like, I know it's something you don't go to a lot. Like, is this a fight you think just going to remain standing, or is this something you think it is going to hit the ground at some point?
Well, if he does his studying and he watched my last fight, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of people thinking that they can out-wrestle me. So if he shoots, he'll be the first to shoot. And if he tries, I'm be in shape. I'll be ready for it.
And then where do you think a win puts you? Like, obviously Trayshawn's 0-2, like, or is it more just getting that first UFC win?
I'm not looking past this. Yeah, this is I told a bunch of my friends, like, it's one thing to make it to the UFC, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was to get there, make a living out of it. So I definitely feel like I'm fighting for my job, with the influx of Contender Series, signees, and different things like that. I know what the UFC is. It's a rotating door, so I have to fight for my spot. I have to keep my spot. So I want to go out there and put on a performance that gets me another fight.
Does that like add a lot of pressure to the fight then, knowing that like they are signing like 4 or 5 guys every week and like you never know with the roster, like even 2 fights like you might be out?
Yeah, I mean, that is pressure. That's added pressure. It is what it is, but pressure is a privilege, you know? Like this is what I've wanted. This is everything I've worked for. So either you're going to break or you're going to become a diamond out of pressure. And I'm trust me, I'm going to be shining after this fight.
And you get your hand raised here, like end of October, like you think this is probably it for you this year? You hoping maybe you can squeak in one more?
I would love to be able to squeak in one more. We'll see how the cards fall. If I can get in and out quick, no injuries, and something, you know, pops up, I'll be in shape for the holidays. I would love to, but if it doesn't, then, you know, let's aim for next year. Let's get back in our drawing board and let's go after another one.
And then on the same card as you is Dustin Jacoby, who obviously you work with a lot. Like, how beneficial is that having him around on the fight week?
I think that's going to be awesome. You know, DJ is one of those guys where if you're around him and you don't get a boost of confidence, a boost of energy, then you're not living. Like, that guy is the most positive, confident guy I've ever met. He has shown me so many things in the gym, outside the gym. Like, I'm excited to share that experience with him.
And then just a couple more things, like with Mark too. Like, to me, he's one of the best coaches in the game. Like, how much confidence do you have when he's in your corner and coming up with these game plans, especially seeing what Cody did with his fight against Trayshawn?
I am ecstatic. I have the utmost confidence in Mark. He has shown me nothing but positive things since I've been here. And having him in my corner, like, that's the general, dude. We're going to war. We're going to battle. And having him in my corner just makes me feel super confident. Also having Randy Caruso in my corner, it's just, I feel unstoppable.
And then some, like how you kind of mentioned earlier, how you think you might be fighting for your job. Like, is there any pressure to put on entertaining fights? Because like we've seen guys that get cut with winning records because they aren't that exciting. And like obviously winning is important, but then it's also putting on exciting fights or getting finishes as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Every single fight that I've been in is exciting, whether I win or lose. I'm going out there to fight. Like, I'm not going out there to hug your leg. I'm not going out there to win by points. That's not who I am. That never will be who I am. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to scrap, and it's going to be entertaining.
Just last thing, like hoping get your hand raised here next fights in front of fans so you can get back to that atmosphere.
Yeah, I was spoiled on my first UFC fight. I know a bunch of my buddies who they got in the UFC and all they fought was in front of no fans. So for me to be able to have that energy, man, that's addicting. I can't wait. I'm gonna do everything in my power to put on a performance to show Dana, show everyone that you want me in front of people, because I feed off the crowd.
Well, Josh, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Hey, thank you as well, man. I appreciate you.